Welcome everyone to Autogefühl, your #1 resource for in-depth car reviews and your #1 community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas and the new BMW 4 Series Convertible. Formerly it was the 3 Series Convertible and the Coupe. Now the sedan stays as 3 Series and Coupe and Convertible are the 4 Series. It's a renaming process and the cars are just a little bit different, but basically it's still the same. It's more a marketing trick. However, we're going to take a look at the differences from the predecessor to the current version, and also we'll compare it again to the competitors of this car, the Audi A5 convertible and the Mercedes E-Class convertible, which will soon be the C-Class convertible. Has been C-Class all the way along, but it's also some renaming thing. However, today it's all about the BMW here in a sport line and in a red color. Some racing red, but it's not the most top engine we have here today. It's the car which you would maybe buy as an ordinary BMW buyer if you pick this car, a 428i. And so we're going to take a look at the exterior, interior and the driving experience of this car. Let's go. 4.63 meters in length. You see the car has become longer than the 3 Series it has before, and especially the rear part, you got this longer rear ending now, and that makes the car appear even more longer, especially on the visual part. So I think this really helped the design of the car, and we got the open top right now here because it's the most important about the convertible. However, also the roof process here is pretty exciting. Also quite similar in the 3 Series, and I can also activate it with a key. If I hold down the close button, then the roof also is closing, and that's one disadvantage of this concept. You see now, and you can count the seconds in the counter below, it really takes a long time. I think it was about 20 seconds, you can check that one up. Also you see it's quite a complicated process here. However, then you got a fully closed coupe kind of. That's an advantage then again, and also weather-wise, when you drive it in winter times, it's also no problem. You don't get stains on your soft top then. Some might argue this car looks closed better than a soft top convertible. However, there's still a difference between the coupe and this version here, because this transition is obviously different. But I think, well, the advantage of this car is really that they've got kind of a coupe also when the car is closed in here. So you have kind of two cars in one. However, there are also this disadvantage about the hardtop one, about the long process. Then also when you're driving and want to close it here, it's about 10 to 15 kilometers, not faster, because the whole thing is heavy, of course. And there are always some issues. Well, here it's partly solution, because sometimes it's not allowed due to the third braking light is flipped off when the roof is opening, so that's always an issue then as well. So I usually prefer the soft top when you can go 40 kilometers an hour so and still open or close it. But which one would you go for? Are you rather the hard top or the soft top fan? I would really like to see that in the comments. And now you can take a detailed look here at the process again. I'm opening it now again because the review will obviously also continue when the car is open. Later on when driving, we'll also talk about how it's driving when it's closed, of course. But for now, you can take a detailed look here at the pros and see how much technology here is involved. That's actually possible. And also with the trunk, it will be very exciting soon. I can show you there's a new function with the trunk here. And now you can maybe count the seconds again. We're done with the opening and we can continue with the car. In the front, the BMW double kidney is a little bit broader even, and we got this twinkling eye headlight now, as we've seen with all the modern BMWs. This is just throughout the model line, and now also here for the 4 Series convertible. It's Xenon, by the way, from Series Production. And here we got the Sport line. You've maybe always seen it in the exterior preview. We've shown you just a few shots where you got the beauty pictures. This is the Sport line here with the black contrast, a little bit different spoiler here. And we also see it at the sides very soon. What is the difference with the Sport line? Also something with the interior then. But it's quite beautiful here, especially with the red contrast. And here it is, this Sport contrast fake air outtake. Some of you might remember I've explained it before, for example with the Mercedes SL, as drum brakes were still in placement. They had to have this air release here, and this is kind of this with these quotations from the past technology, and here with disc brakes obviously has no reason at all, just a visual one. Then we have a Sport badge here. 18-inch alloys here on this car. I think it's the perfect choice because from Series Production you get 17-inch, that maybe looks a little bit balloon-wise, and with 19-inch you already start to lose some comfort, and then the tires get so slim that you get easily some scratches on the alloys. So 18-inch I think here is the perfect solution for the car. So also beautiful contrast here with the side mirrors in black to the red color. And what is different now here in the 4 Series, we got the stronger dropping line, and it makes the car even a little bit more interesting, especially here in the side profile with the playing of light and shadow. And in combination with a quite longer rear, this car is now a little bit closer to the 6 Series convertible. So you might think, okay, maybe I spent way less money and have an already quite good BMW convertible and don't go for the very huge and very expensive 6 Series. Also want to hear your opinions on that one, and maybe later we can talk more about the subject when we've driven the car, and also as well when I told you something about that one. Let's now close the exterior review with the rear. In the rear we now see taillights with some wave inside, so it's not all the straight line, a little bit more interesting here from the rear. As you can see here, it's the 428i. This is still a 4-cylinder petrol engine, 245 horsepower, and BMW is famous that they offer a huge range of engines, and you can here pick between 4 cylinders and 6 cylinders, both on the petrol and the diesel side, and so you can really pick your horsepower range. This here with the 245 horsepower is not the smallest petrol engine, but of course also not the biggest one. So I think good middle compromise. Here in Germany, this car starts at 43,000 euros, and this one here as it stands right now with some extra package Sport line, something between 50 and 60,000 euros. I would guess something like 55,000 euros. Not cheap, no, but then if you compare it to really grand GT cars, still less expensive than that one. So they're sitting in the middle side there, and with middle segment also as the name says. And the Audi and the Mercedes, they're both also quite in the same price range. And you know, nowadays there are hardly only premium convertibles available anymore, hardly any other convertible that cost less money. Inside, pretty solid door handle here, I like that. And let's take a look at the interior. Here the Sport line with the black-red contrast. And also from Series Production you get some features, USB port for example, the Radio Professional. This one however here is the upgraded radio then, but from Series you also get a Bluetooth stuff. Then we have here the standard Sport steering wheel. Well, it is called Sport steering wheel, but I don't find it sporty. Do me a favor, get the M Sport steering wheel. It's only 200 euros extra, and then you have a different styling. You have this M steering wheel where you have the styling, you know, with this kind of form you see here, and then it's also with a better grip and so on. I really don't like that steering wheel. And 200 euros just for the M Sporting wheel is really a good choice then. What I like here are all the brushed aluminum covers we have here, already here on the left side, and they continue over here at the inside of the doors. And this all feels very solid, I must say, and I would just love this brushed aluminum. However, here on the upper part we got the black plain plastic. And the sport line here with the red contrast is also beautifully done, and everything fits to each other. And if I just show you the key, you can also see it here. It's the same design scheme, very beautiful, very light key by the way. It's rather simple, but with this red contrast, also very beautiful. And you close it on the BMW logo, open it above, and then this is also just if you want to open the trunk. Let's move back to the interior. What's also quite neat is that you have this brushed aluminum style also in the middle part of the dashboard here. It goes all the way until the other end, and you have the inside of the doors again. It's also very beautiful, I think. And then if we concentrate on the middle lower part, we got this BMW automatic shifting gear lever here. You only get the automatic gearbox here with the convertible, but I think it's okay because the convertible is for cruising and for enjoying. I think it's still a good styling, and also to shift the gears, it's very easy doable actually, I think. And then let's take a look at the seats. These sports seats here have a great styling with the contrast stitches, and they are also very comfortable, I must say. You see, this is new here with the 4 Series Convertible. You also got the neck heating, but depending on how tall you are, it's all, maybe for tall people, it's more a higher back heating and not really a neck heating. We'll talk more about that later on this one as well. Then a lot of side support if we move lower here at this part, and you can also electronically adjust that one. You see it right here. Now it goes more to the inside, or you can also release it again. So it's quite nice feature here with these seats, as they can just control if I want to have this sporty side support, or if you just want to have a little bit more space. However, here what I criticize in the convertible, you can only pick leather, and you see it's this kind of new car, but this one will look like grandma's sofa quite soon. And you know, there's no Alcantara possibility here whatsoever, only for the coupe version. And then you have to pick the M Sports package then, and there you can optionally also pick the Alcantara for the seats then. Really too bad. I also would love it in the convertible, especially when you're driving in summer and sweating a lot, then the Alcantara would be really better. And some of you who watched Autogefühl a lot of times say, okay, Thomas, you're already telling us, yes, you prefer Alcantara, but you have to think about, we also got viewers that haven't seen us before. And that's just my statement always. I want to tell you what's the best for the car, and also criticize what is not included with the car. And of course, there's always the animal rights issue. You shouldn't use leather, as leather kills. And I don't let discuss with me there, because someone lately said, oh no, that's true. Believe me, it is true. And then we can move on now. But overall, I think, besides this fact, it's a beautiful interior. Often BMW interiors are also criticized because they are kind of basic and simple in the very low versions. Well, that might be the case here also here. So you should maybe indeed go for some interior packaging, and then of course also the M Sporty steering wheel. By the way, good for tall people is the lengthment here of the seat. You can pull it in or pull it out for tall people like me. That's very good. You still sit relatively low. And by the way, well, I think you don't know that the rear-wheel drive versions here, they sit 15 millimeters lower, and the all-wheel drive version, you can also pick the X-Drive here, they sit at a normal level, so 50 millimeters higher than the rear-wheel drive versions. Maybe because I think, okay, if you pick all-wheel drive, you maybe want to go some snow stuff, I don't know. But if you want to have it sportier, then go for the rear-wheel drive version, because then you also sit a little bit lower from the suspension. As I said, the seats are very comfortable, I must say, so really good also for long tours, definitely. And we are more in this cruising convertible segment here. It's not about, oh, I get the most sporty corner and stuff. So really more about the relaxing, enjoying. But I can show you in the driving experience, can of course have some sporty fun with this one here as well. Then about the neck heating, you see here for me, well, when I do have a jacket on, it doesn't really make so much sense. It's more for this transition if you maybe just have a shirt on, but it's a little bit colder. So, well, should you go for the neck heating as an option? If you have money and don't care, yes, do pick it. But if you think about which exhaust should I pick, then don't do it, because there are hardly any uses for it. Because when it's really, really hot, you don't need it. And when it's very cold, you wear some jacket anyway, and then your neck is covered. You see it right here. And the warm air, it does work, but it doesn't really come to your neck. So I would have to take my jacket off, and then it's actually possible. Or if you're smaller, if I would be like this, then it would also reach my neck. So, but for tall people with jackets on, it's not really that useful. Let's take a look at the instruments. Start button. And now what do we see here? We have analog instruments, but they're illuminated from behind in red, fitting to the color. So rather a classic layout, and I like that. And in the middle part we have the information here. Well, we did play around a little bit with the car now, so expect some 10 to 11 liters with this 4-cylinder petrol engine on 100 kilometers. Then the middle part, we see the screen here. It doesn't flicker in reality, it's just that our camera is different from the frequency. What I realized is that the reaction times are very fast here for the GPS. I'm really satisfied with that one, and I think this wide screen is also fitting for your for the use, and here you can scroll all the different stuff. And I basically like the BMW system here. Also from the sound and the haptical part, I can show you this in the middle. This is here the central controlling knob, and I think it's really good. Just listen to it. Click, click, click. That's really good. And you can of course use it in this kind of way to change, for example, to some tabs. Now to the right here again, to the Bluetooth menu, for example. And well, it's the basic system, nothing special here with this car. But in general, I think they have found some very good solutions. For the driver, I think, well, the co-driver might have some problems controlling it then, because for co-driver, touchscreens are way easier. But when you're a driver and BMW is driver focused, then this solution is definitely better. But you know, with the 7 Series, there will also be a touchscreen. Again, you can also use it that way. Then the middle part with the climate, and there also BMW have found very good solutions that you have good grip here, good sound, good quality impression, and everything is kind of easy to control. Also the seated, the heating for the seats. Sorry, here 3-level. It's also good that you can directly access it, and everything is also clear here with the display. I really like that setup. In the middle part, well, I'm not using the CD player anymore, so maybe leave that out just for me. But lately I've heard some comments, okay, I still use some CDs, so that might also be something for you then. What I find quite astonishing is that here this cover can be removed completely. And then I have it flying around, and it says here, please put it to the glove box. However, I could do that, but I'm not sure if that's really the best solution. Well, if a lot of stuff is already in there, now then you can have this cup holders right here, or in the front for the basement garage beeper. And in the middle part here, you can also open that one, of course. Got the camera lens cover in there. This is for a mobile phone, usually USB and aux in. But my favorite part is still that one here, because we have this brushed aluminum style here. And now it gets really exciting, because now I'm going to show you how flexible this convertible is actually for the everyday stuff, for other passengers in the rear, and also what about the trunk, because there's a new system. First of all, you have to know the seats can be electronically moved to the front and the rear with a side knob, but that's only possible if you open the door. Then you can also control them to the front and the back at the side here. Otherwise, you have to use the normal controls at the lower part of the seats. And there you can really move the seat all the way in the front. Then you can flip it and have a better access here also to the rear. Right now we have the wind cut mounted that can be flipped out like that. It's really effective, reduces the wind noise totally. And I can already tell you right now, it's an all-season convertible, 110 kilometers at 5 degrees, no problem. When you have the wind cut mounted flipped out and all the windows higher, of course. Then there's here some buttons. I can flip them back and then it's possible to switch it. And I think it's a very good solution. Also better, as we've seen from Audi, because also these ones here, they go a little bit back, and so it's easy to mount it even just alone, actually, no problem. And I think that's a very good solution. I just lay it down here for a second because I want to take a seat. Especially when the top is open here now, very easy to get in here. A little bit like a cave, of course, still. And now I'm putting the seat back as the driver's seat would be, to show you how much knee space there is left. And well, I think it's still quite okay. It's, for me, with 1.86 m, it's well, I shouldn't be any taller. And well, now as the top is opened, no problem here so far. But it will also be exciting when the roof is closed. What's happening there? I'll also show you quite soon. For now, what else is here to mention about the rear compartment? Well, it's not exactly comfortable, but it's okay. And of course, you can actually go with 4 adults with this car on an open Cabriolet tour. Maybe if the rear passengers are not maybe too tall, but then one class below that, compact convertible segment, that will already be a problem. Here for some beverages, that's fine here as well. And then let me just get the wind cut here inside, because I'm looking forward to how it will actually behave when the roof is closed. I'll close the door here as well, and now I think I can close the roof also with the key here again. That's a practical solution. For example, also when you're sitting in the ice cream parlor and want to give some people a show off. Now let's see, oh, I don't want to be hit by the roof. How much headspace I will have here when the roof is closed, because it's also quite important if you want to use this car as a single car, you know. Because some convertibles, they are just there to have maybe as a secondary car, but this one should actually be also a car where you can say, okay, I just want to own this car. So everything is closed here now, and then let's see, well, with my head. Well, I'm hitting it with my head, so I can open here again the window so you can see me. Here I am again, so let's stop it right here. Here you see it here. It's still quite okay. I'm quite surprised about that. So I think a good test result in here is my hairs are touching the ceiling here. When I would be 190, it would be, I think, not possible anymore. But so in this case, I think quite okay. So for a convertible, I think you can use this space here behind very well. Now let's open the roof again. You see today you have the pleasure to have a lot of opening and closing process here, and you can really take a detailed look how it really works. By the way, if you own a 3 Series convertible, I want to know from you, did you have any problems with your hardtop roof so far? Really want to read more about it in the comments, because so far, from what I've heard, everyone had a good experience with it and no problems at all actually. So, and now we continue with our versatile review here. What else is there? There's actually a good place to hide the wind cut if you don't want to use it, or if you want to go with 4 people. So this here, the rear bench, can be flipped in one, and you see it's a quite neat concept, as the headrests, they just stay in place, and then you can put the wind cut in here, and then you can fix it right here. That's also quite good, and you can, that's also, yeah, so that's really fixed, and then it's gone. Really great solution here, I think. And we continue, and we can get it out again. Just put it in the front somewhere. So, because it gets even more exciting, first of all, you've seen you can put this one out here, the middle part, for example, for a ski hitch. And by the way, this has also been the case with the 3 Series converter. I'm not sure why it's not just flipping, but you can just leave it out. I think it's, I'm not sure what to think about, but maybe you can explain me why it's done that way. Otherwise, you can also flip it completely, and then it's also possible to put this one out from the trunk side. I'll show you very soon. Then you can have an even loading here. That's quite good also for a convertible. But to show you that, we really have to go to the trunk, and there it gets even more exciting with this new process. telling you it the third time now. Now it's finally it. So let's open the trunk. And well, when the roof is down, you don't have much left. That's always the disadvantage of these hardtops. You remember the Mercedes SL? We also got a review from that one. Just search for it on YouTube as well. And that's possible to flip out the roof here, and then you can access the trunk even when the roof is open. That's, I think, is quite neat function here. However, here you got a different system, and it's new to the 4 Series convertible. You got some keys below, up here, for up and down. And when you press this one, then you see what's happening then with the roof. Whoa! And you have to hold it. You have to hold it, and then, because then it just stops, you have to hold it. Maybe one of the strangest things I've ever seen with the car, never seen something like that. The SL solution where you can just flip it was way easier, but I'm glad to have this function actually. And then this one here is just manually removed up, and then you can have quite a huge trunk actually. This is the trunk as it looks when the coupe style is finished. So when you have the roof closed, then you have actually quite some space, and then it's here also possible to get this hatch opened, and you can load through it all the way. I think they've really thought about how can we make this sporty cruising convertible as flexible as possible. I think a very nice solution here. Also when you have to get used to all the systems behind that. So now it's closed again. Well, but still, the trunk is not big. However, if you have the coupe style, then you can leave this one here, the cover, open. And then you can use all the space. You see also these small holes at the side. However, if you want to use it as a convertible, then you don't use the holes in the side, and you can use just the space you have below this cover here, because the roof is obviously lying on that one. And then you put that down again here. This very strange system, but we have the solution now, and so we can also get in and out the stuff even if we have the convertible style. So to open the hood, by the way, you don't have another mechanism in the front here at BMW. You just have to pull the lever here in the front twice, and then the hood is opening, and you see we got a beautiful engine design here for this 4-cylinder petrol engine, twin power turbo it says. I think very nice what we see here beneath the hood. They are all, I mentioned that earlier, 4-cylinder and 2-liter displacement, or 6-cylinder with 3-liter displacement, up to 431 horsepower in the M4. This one here, as I said earlier, 245 horsepower and the 4-cylinder. And also with the diesels, we got the 4-cylinder with 2-liter or the 6-cylinder with 3-liter. Let's get started with the driving experience. And what you immediately hear is nothing. It almost feels like an electric car. So this 4-cylinder petrol engine is so silent. And if you don't push the throttle very hard, it's really no problem to have a very relaxed cruising experience here. I think that is right for this car actually. So I don't expect a really loud sports car here, in this opinion, especially if I go for the 4-cylinder, for the rather smaller petrol engine. That's really fine for that one. This car is really for everyday open cruising, and I can just stress the fact that you can drive with this open top all season, even in Germany or the UK, because if you put up all the windows, then it's really like a heat cell in here. You can put on seat heating, or maybe also the neck heating option if you have it, and if you're small enough to profit from it, and also just the normal heating, that's also possible then. And now I'm just rolling down here, just a pure convertible enjoyment. Very easy to drive also the car. I got the comfort mode here right in, then the steering is also quite light. Also the throttle input isn't that hard. Everything's quite soft. About the brakes, I'm not sure. I would prefer them to set in a little bit earlier, to be honest. But besides that, really neutral perspective here of the car. I think also from when I go right and left here, It's not the most sporty feeling, but it's also not that kind of heavy. I think overall quite a neutral feeling when having this car. So, well, in the middle class segment, you got this standard sedan style kind of, and it's the same style it also feels when driving it. However, I also do have the sport mode and a sport plus mode where the traction control is deactivated partly. And maybe always seen from our action shots outside, you can also make the car scream a little bit, also from the tire wise, that you can put some rubber on the ground. That does work then when the traction control is deactivated. And then we have some more power with this 245 horsepower. I think it's a quite fitting engine for this car. When I then push the throttle, we hear a little bit more and goes higher in the RPM then as well with the sport mode. So if you want to have more power, just go in the sport mode, and then you can also drive it sportier. Also the steering wheel is a little bit harder than sportier, as you can say. Now we're going inside the tunnel. Here it's getting a little bit louder. But you see, when I push the throttle, you don't really hear such a difference then. So it's basically more that it's not that really screaming, roaring car. That's the one behind us. It's some American muscle car. So this time I can't answer with an Audi R8 sound or something like that. So, but today it's really more about cruising here in the BMW 4 Series Convertible. I think it's the right car for that one. However, you can also go for the M version, and then you really have also a true sports car. I would prefer, as I said earlier, the M Sport steering wheel here. Then I already would have a better sportier feeling here. However, if you compare it to the Mercedes E-Class Convertible, for example, this is definitely the sportier car here. And with the A5 Convertible from Audi, also the BMW is a sportier car. So if you pick that comparison here. And I think the BMW also has, well, the E-Class Convertible has some kind of lazy style, I would call it in that way. It's really settled down convertible. I think it will change when it's really the C-Class Convertible, also on the renaming, and it will also look sportier than before when they redo that. And the A5 is already aged a little bit now, so it's maybe better to pick the A3 Convertible then. However, this is another class, and again it's a compact car, but they have moved up the A3 as well a little bit, so that might also be a decision, maybe A3 or here this BMW 4 Series. In this case, the A3 Convertible, the new one, is also less expensive, of course. Well, I must say I can just enjoy riding here. Also the seats are very comfortable, and maybe I would have expected the BMW would be a little bit more sporty now in the 4 Series version, that they maybe make a little bit difference to the predecessor, but that rather remained the same. So if you ask me, is there really a huge difference between the 3 Series Convertible before and now the 4 Series? Not such a huge difference really. I think they have refined some stuff as the better flexibility, and also from the driving, the suspension is really better, I must say. It was already good before, but now really refined. It's not a real lazy suspension, but all the bumps we go over, they are even out quite well, so you have a comfy ride. Then you really have to think about, do I need to spend so much more money to go for a Grand GT? Maybe image-wise, but not necessarily in the sense of I really need it because it's such a different driving experience. So this car already offers you a lot of convertible feeling and a lot of space. However, not already for a Grand GT convertible price. So now it's starting to rain here, and well, we couldn't have planned it better for the review, so we can close the roof. That's a very good thing. And well, now I'm standing still. There's a red traffic light, but I usually prefer it when it's soft top. And when I see it's getting green, then I can also start and drive like 30 or 40 kilometers an hour. Here it's not possible. You can just run it at a very, very slow speed, and well, that doesn't really help you so much if you just can close it at running speed. It just helps you when you can drive like 30 or 40 kilometers an hour, that would really help you then. But now it actually worked in this case. It was a quite a long traffic period here, so that really worked. It was perfectly timed actually. So now we have the roof closed, and then it really makes also a difference to a soft top, and that is an advantage again, I must say. It's really totally silently in here, totally silent. It would be like riding a closed coupe, and yeah, if someone would say, oh, you're just riding a 3 Series saloon here, I would believe it actually. And that is an adventure if you think about if you maybe someone who goes on some motorway trips quite often during the week and also need a closed car for that usually, then you can combine those cars actually. That's a real advantage here with the 4 Series Convertible with a hard top. Then you maybe think about, okay, I don't care about the problems with the trunk, even with the new system here now. I really prefer this very silent ride here, especially on the motorway when it's about higher speeds. But this is even better here than, for example, the acoustic soft tops from Audi, which are already very silent for some soft tops. This one here even tops that one just from the noise cancellation. Let me conclude about the new BMW 4 Series Convertible. Definitely a dream convertible. And you might think about, if it has become a little bit longer now, a little bit more, well, outstanding than the previous version, it could be thinking about, well, not going for the 6 Series convertible, I spend less money but already have a middle size, a grand convertible here with also some sporty feeling depending on the engine I put in. I think this is really worth a thought in my opinion. And then in general, the quality impression is very good, I must say. As for the interior, I think you shouldn't go over with the basic version, but really pick a nice package like a sport package or the M package. A lot of people do that nowadays, and I think it really pays off because then you get more because of these contrast stitches on the interior, and they really help the car. And I would definitely also go for this matte aluminum style. It's really great stuff, especially like this one here with the red contrasts here on the inside with the sport line here. Then, as I also say, with 18-inch alloys, I think you're very well done here, just because they compromise between the good visual part and still having the comfort. Then, what was also very interesting, usually I'm not such a fan of the hardtop convertibles because they really reduce the trunk space, and well, I just love the soft top convertible the classic way. However, in this case here, I really thought about how can we make it the most flexible hardtop convertible available, and for example, with this loading through area and this new system where I can lift up the glass roof and then really fill the trunk in. Although the roof is lowered, I think it's a very good solution here, even if it's a little bit strained, and it's way easier than in the Mercedes. It's way easier in the Mercedes SL actually. But here again, it's a different construction from the roof, and so it wasn't possible to just flip the glass roof then here. But you have this new feature here then now, and I think it's good to have it that you can really use the convertible. Also for people here in the rear compartment, it is possible to drive with 4 adults. You hardly find that with convertible nowadays, but you have to think about the car is not really cheap still. Cheaper, yes, of course, than the Grand GT versions, but of course it's only the premium segment available here with this middle class cars. Maybe the Opel or Vauxhall Cascada. This one would be a non-premium competitor to these cars here. But then, well, there isn't hardly any other manufacturer left. Only the premium manufacturers concentrate on building convertibles nowadays because the market share is only 1 or 2%, even in the high-selling convertible markets like Germany or Great Britain, or, well, not the whole US, but rather California. But, well, so it will be the problem for convertible fans. We have less and less convertibles, so I'm happy to have this one here still. And I think this convertible is a good choice for a lot of purposes. And I think this one is still one of the main reasons here for the BMW 4 Series convertible. Now it's the 4 Series. So thank you very much for watching Autogefühl, and we see us at the next time. And don't forget to leave us some comments about that car.